All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting edition of How Do I Do This Anyways? What we're going to be working on today is we're going to be building our print in place hinge on a box. Okay, so this is a very simple version of one. And as you can see, we have an assembly model here where we can actually look at it. We can set up our contact sets and our joints and limit those joints later so it actually behaves like it would in real life. But for now, we're just going to focus on getting the actual box built. Inventor is a program that likes to work from the bottom up. So it likes to build individual components and then put them together in an assembly. There are other programs that work from the top down where you're thinking of taking and building one large object and splitting it into smaller pieces. We're going to be building this up in Inventor. So first, you're going to have to build a part that is the box. Okay. And so this is going to get complicated. I'm going to go through a lot of stuff. You're going to have to do some playing and pausing and trying in order to get this to actually work. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and say File, New, and it's just going to be a standard IPT, but we need to make sure that we are in metric because we will be 3D printing this stuff. So create that. All right. Now, another thing you need to do is you need to go ahead and create your project folder. I've been toying around with this for a minute, and so where did my new folder go? Just do that. New folder. Where did it go? Oh, all the way at the bottom. 2-1-5. Redesign your case. Underscore your initials. That's your project folder. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here first off is we're going to start a 2D sketch, and we want to be very careful how we start this. You want to make sure that Z is up, so you're looking down from the top view. I prefer to have it like that, but whatever. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to click this on out, and I'm just going to click to set that thing down. I'm not actually going to type in any numbers just yet. So what I'm also going to do is I'm going to show you these things called parameters. So we're going to come over here to the Manage tab and click Parameters. And what I want to do is I want to add a couple of parameters to this. Okay, so we're going to add a numeric parameter. The first one we're going to call box size or box height. Okay. And I'm just going to say that that's going to be, well, first off, we can put some information, we can select units, but I'm going to go ahead and call that 70 millimeters. You should not need that. All right. Hit enter. And it accepted it. Next, I'm going to add another one called wall thickness. Okay. Again, should be in millimeters. No, we don't need to select anything else. And I'm going to say that this should be 1.4 millimeters. 1.3 worked last time. We'll stick with that. And then we'll go ahead and hit enter to accept that. And we're going to add one more. And we're going to call this gap. This is going to be a space that we want to put between things. And generally a 0.5 millimeter gap does really nicely on our 3D printers with our settings. So I'm going to click done. Now, what that does, let me double check to make sure it allowed the last one. Cool. What this does is it allows us to call on those parameters whenever we feel like it. Box height. So you see how it went from red to black? That means it accepted that parameter. Now, this is good because what we can do then is if you have to change things, You only have to go back in and change the parameters. So like, for example, if I decide, no, I don't want it to be 70, I want it to be 50. Done. Anything that had the box height as its parameter or as its dimension, it now has 50. So I'm going to go back to 70 because 70 is an easy number to deal with. All right, now let's go ahead and say finish sketch. And now we're going to extrude it, and we're going to go a distance of box height. All right. So now before we go any further, we want to go ahead and save this thing. We want to say file, save. And now we need to find our project folder that we just created. Okay. I just created that one. Now this is going to be test box 3. I've been at this for a minute. All right, so now it showed up there as the name. Now we want to come in here, refresh my flash drive. There we go. All right, so it's there. Now we can go ahead and continue on our merry way. We want to eventually split this box in half into 2 parts, which let's just go ahead and do that now. In order to do that, though, well, first off, we don't want a complete box. We want to go ahead and shell it, and we don't want to remove faces, and we want to have this be a thickness. Oh, wall thickness. Okay. So now it's got that wall thickness. Now, obviously, this is a closed box. We can't exactly see in the box in order to tell if it's actually shelled or not. So come here to our inspect tool. We're going to grab this section analysis, and we're going to put it in here, but we're going to drag it down a scotch. And now I'm going to click OK. You see that? All right, cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn that off. Actually, I'm just going to delete it because I don't need it taking up any more space. And that let me know that the shell was actually there. Later on, you'll want to keep those or you'll want to save those as screenshots, but that's how you use a section analysis to do a quick check to make sure things are the way you want them to be. Let's get back to it. Come to your 3D model tab, and what we want to do is we want to put a bisecting plane because I just want to split this box right in half. So I'm going to go ahead and say a plane that is going to be offset to a plane. Okay, so that's the plane I want it to be offset to, but I want it to be negative, so pushing downwards, and then 0.5 times my box height. That put it right in the middle. Now, by putting it as that parameter, no matter what we change the box height to, it will be that location in the middle. If we change it to a 20 millimeter high box, then it'll be at the 10 millimeter mark line. So now we want to go ahead and split the box. Okay, so the tool to split things, it says to pick a tool. The tool is the plane or the sketch you're going to use. And then the selected faces, we want to select solids. There's only one solid there, and we want to go ahead and keep both sides. So we're going to click OK there. And now, if we come up here to bodies, we've got 2 bodies. We've got a top and we got a bottom. And so we want to go ahead and click on that, double click on it so we can rename it. And we're just going to call that box top. We'll click it so that way we can actually name it box bottom. All right. Now we can highlight these independently and they will light up and we can actually, turn them on, turn them off for the visibility in order to see them. So right now, that's where we want to be. Now I want to go ahead and I want to start my hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and start a 2D sketch, and what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to make a sketch on the bottom of this thing. And I just want to take a line tool and project on out from here. Okay. You only need to be a few millimeters out. But I just want to make sure that my circles are all in line with the center. Okay, now I just drug out 3 circles. We're going to go ahead and come back and we're going to dimension these now. I'm going to grab the dimension tool and I'm going to say my first one, I want that one to be the wall thickness. Okay, now the distance between the first one and second one, I want that to be the gap. Okay, and then the distance between the second and third one, I want that to be the wall thickness again. So what we're going to have here is we're going to have the center one is going to be our pin. This area here between the first one and second one is going to be our air gap. And then we have an area around the air gap for the outer part of the hinge. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and grab our line tool. Click there to make sure we got a constraint. Click there to make sure we have our constraint. And again, do the same thing on the top. Now, drop that tool and make sure that we have tangent constraints to the lines and circles. All right, cool. And I just want to go ahead and bring this on over to here. Okay. Now, using that tangent constraint, it made sure that that circle's touching the side of the case. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and use our dimension tool to make sure that this angle between that and that is not too much. I'm going to go ahead and place it at a 45-degree angle. That seems to print fairly well. Now you see how this went out like that? We need to use our trim tool to cut that off and make sure that that's constrained. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the E to extrude that, and we want to make sure that all of these can be extruded. So there we go. Center, yep. All right, cool. So what we're going to do first is the bottom one, okay? That. And we will go ahead and leave the center undone. But we want it to go the other way. And we want it to go ahead and go to this surface, okay? And we're going to make sure that we are creating a new solid. That solid, we want to call that hinge bottom or bottom hinge. Okay. So now it just popped over here in the solid bodies menu. Okay. Now the next one we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to share the sketch after we turn the visibility on that off. Visibility off. Now we're going to go ahead and come over here. Is that my sketch? Yep. I want to right click that and I'll click share sketch because I want to use that over again. And I'm just going to now extrude the top of it. All right. And actually, I don't want to do the pin. Cancel. Extrude. I want to do that. And I want to do that. Click OK. All right, now. Crud. I wanted that to go edit feature, again, to next, and I want it to go all the way over to there. And I want this to create a new body, and I want that body to be called top hinge. Okay. All right, so now I've got that part, and I've got my bottom hinge. Now I need to go ahead and hide that, and I want to go ahead and create my hinge pin. Zoom in, click the center, and we want to go to next, and selecting that face. Okay, and that solid 6, click on that, and just call it pin. All right, so I can turn the visibility off on that as well. All right, now I actually don't need this sketch shown anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and turn the visibility off on it as well. So now I've got the bottom and the top and the pin. Now I want to go ahead and I want to create a sketch on the surface of the top in order to make my little slits, because if you looked at my completed one, we've got these little slits through here that are not allowing the pieces to come in contact with one another. So I want to go ahead and I want to do that. In order to get that done, I need to go ahead and turn off the visibility on my top. And then I need to go ahead and I need to start a sketch on this surface. Okay, now with the way that this thing has just flipped all over the place, I want to make sure that I'm putting this in the right spot. So this sketch 3 that's over here, I need to make sure I'm doing all of my sketches on the same side. So what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to come in here with my rectangle tool, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to come out about, just to be safe, 8 millimeters. And then I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to hit or type in wall thickness. Okay. And now I'm going to start another rectangle. And again, I'm going to click right there, come out there, the 8, and then I'm going to type in gap. And then I want to come over here, grab my line tool, make a construction line, and I want to come right along here until I snap to a green point, because that green point is the midpoint. And I'm just going to pull straight on out from there. Okay, that's going to give me a reference line. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag out another rectangle here. That's going to be my 8 millimeters by my gap. And I'm just going to go ahead and dimension this thing up. I don't want that to be a construction rectangle. I want it to be a realsies rectangle. And it's going to be 8 by gap. Now I want to dimension that thing, so that way from there to there is 11.5 millimeters. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mirror what's over here to over here, so that way I don't have to do it a bunch of times. So the stuff that I want to use, or that I want to mirror, is here. Just drag a box over it. My mirror line is there. And now I'm going to click apply, and that looks wonderful. And now I'm going to click done. All right. Now we are going to go ahead and click finish sketch to finish that. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting, because we want to go ahead and we want to make sure that we are extruding our cuts. So we are going to select that geometry, select that geometry, select that one, and select that one. So we got all 4 of those cuts. We want them to be symmetrical, and we want them to be cut. And then it's going to say, hey, what material do you want to cut? This is where you're actually going to have to come over here and say, hey, I want to cut the bottom hinge and the top hinge. That's what you're cutting with this cut. So now click OK. Now, didn't give us any warnings, so hopefully this is good. Right click, turn the visibility on the top. Top looks good. Visibility, boom. See how our hinges are now cut? Hey, you're nigh all the way through. So that means that our sketch was not quite where we thought it was. Edit sketch. Turn the visibility off on that. Let's see here. Holding control. Right click, visibility off. All right, edit sketch. That's right. Oh, we didn't go far enough. Edit feature. To there. Actually, to all. Okay. Now edit feature again. Be symmetrical cut through all. Okay. All right. Now we're in business. So right now, your box looks ish like this. This is where we're going to break this video. Okay. So next, we're going to have to actually separate out the pieces of this hinge. Okay. So hopefully this helps you out. Let me know if you have questions.